everybody, welcome to the lesson. First up, I want to start out by saying this is one of my favorite blues fusion riffs. It has been for about 5-6 months now. It's really just got a nice fluid sound to it, just gets the energy going, gets the blood boiling. I don't know, it makes me smile and it makes me want to start the day at the beginning of the morning. Every time I hear it, I just play it and just, oh yeah! So I figured I'd share it with you all today, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Now, to tell you the truth, the riff really isn't that complicated. It's if you have any basic knowledge of arpeggios, it should be fairly simple for you to get around. I start out the lick with a A major 7 arpeggio, starting on an open E. So something like this, you go open E, you got your A, and we're not going to go straight to the C sharp. We actually are going to play the second degree in this. So we go E, A, B, C sharp, get the fifth in there, and then your 7th. Now you can alternate pick this if you want, but you're probably going to come across a bit of a stumble when you hit the 5th on the 2nd string there. Reason being is if you start on a downstroke like most people do, you're going to have to do some pick slanting work to get over to the next string. If you start on an upstroke for this riff and you're doing picking, however, on the 4th note, you should be able to just push through the E string and use economy picking, go down to the A string, and just continue the rest of the riff picked steadily from there. Here, let me show you a quick example of it. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then push through. Up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. So if you want to pick it, you can, but I prefer not to. Part of the reason I like doing it in the legato in the first place isn't just because of the ease, it's because, like I said, I like the fluidity of the sound. And it's already getting a little bit too percussive for my taste towards the higher register of the strings because we're doing the sweep picking thing anyway. But I like playing it this way. Anyway, I'm rambling on. After you get your 7 in there, and you head back on up to the root of the arpeggio, what we're going to do now is we're going to use that root as the key change. And that key change is going to be from A major, A Ionian, which we were playing in before, to D Mixolydian. And that's so that we can go ahead and use that flat 7 for a dominant 7 arpeggio. Okay, now we're not just playing a regular dominant 7 arpeggio though, we are adding in the 6ths as well to give it that sort of, ooh, that bluesy feel to it. Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that bluesy feel. So, we climb back on up. We got the 6th, we got the 7th, and then we can slide back on up to the root. Alright, but in the version of the riff I didn't stop at the root. I slid all the way up to the 2nd here, and then did a little jump to the 3rd, and then back to the root, just for some musical flavor. You don't want it to just be all fast notes and arpeggios. You know, it's got a nice sound to it, but you want it to end on something tasteful, something musical. I love fast playing, I love arpeggios and the liquidy sound, but you gotta, I also love it more when it's in a good context. if you know what I mean by that. It's one thing to play fast, it's another thing to play fast in context. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, so I will move on. Now the next variation of, or a couple of variations of this riff that I played, is, first one is pretty much the same thing, except instead of it being a D dominant 7 arpeggio, we're playing a E dominant 7 arpeggio, and in which case we are going to have a position change on the third string. Once you hit that root note for the A major 7 arpeggio that you were doing, slide up to your B. And then from the B, you can do your E dominant 7 arpeggio starting on your B there. Now again, we stick the 6th in there for that bluesy taste, but it's up a tone, you know. It really depends on what you feel. You know, sometimes I play it in D, sometimes I play it in E. Personally today I'm kind of feeling like E. Now on the last variation of that, it's again very, very similar, but instead of making it a dominant 7, we're going to make it a major 6th, and all it takes is a slight variation of the notes up top there. So we're going to climb back up. There's our A major 7 again. Root, we slide. Now we're on our B. We climb up again. Stop on the 6th, and instead of hitting the 7th, we go over to the E. It's as simple as that. Alright, now when I was showing you that riff, I did stumble across another area which I think may be an issue for some people out there. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about it right now. You're going to have the bar shape, that sort of bar shape, for the dominant 7 and major 6th arpeggios. So get used to sort of rolling the tension of your finger back and forth between the D, the G, and the B string when you're climbing up, because if you don't have that pressured right, you're gonna get a major chord, or you're gonna get a double stop, or you're just gonna get just jumbled, chunky mess. So practice rolling. Rolling that tension like that to get the notes individualized. And it may take practice, like most of this stuff does, but I assure you it's worth it in the end. Speaking of practice, practice clean. Start practicing this stuff clean. Get a good grasp on what the notes are going to sound like, either with an acoustic guitar or just with a clean setting on your regular guitar, and then pump up the effects. I guarantee you, if you're able to hit these notes properly with a clean sound, you're going to be sounding that much better with your effects and your distortion. Yeah, also try to be aware of any other little clams or mistakes that may be happening in there. Just try to play it slow. Don't rush things. Obviously, you're going to have to speed it up once in a while to see what your limits are, but once you hit that limit and you find the issues, work them out. Take the time, work them out, and then continue on with the riff. You will be able to relay that sound that you're hearing in your mind to the guitar. Now, I'm sure I don't have to say this to some of you, but practice with rhythm. Practice with a metronome. Man, it's hot. Summertime. But yeah, practice to something that you can keep timing with. It's one thing to learn all the notes. It's one thing to be able to play it so that you enjoy the sound when you're just in the privacy of your own home or just jamming out or whatever. But in order to have groove, in order to have pocket in whatever music you're playing, you have to be familiar with timing. So put on your metronome, or find a blues groove or a drum beat that you're not necessarily familiar with, but that you're comfortable with, and go ahead and practice to it. And as I was saying with the practicing of the notes and the riff itself, don't rush it. In fact, it would be better to start at a painfully slow tempo. That way it forces you to wait for the beat and be on time. Because if you rush on a slow beat, it's going to be obvious. It'll be obvious to you, it'll be obvious to everyone. So start slow, and just like everything else, work your way up to the tempo that you're looking for. And another thing I would suggest, if you're having problems, or if you just want to gauge how well you're playing the riff or how you sound, record yourself. Don't be afraid to record yourself. And what with phone technology and at the level that it's at anymore these days, pretty much everybody has some sort of recording device at their hands. So if you want, record yourself. See how you sound. See what improvements you need. And hey, with any luck, you won't really need that much of any improvements. All right, another point that I want to stress here is don't be afraid to experiment. Just because I played this a certain way or like that certain sound that flows from it doesn't mean that you can't alter notes or alter the timing or just experiment. Alter anything about it, mess around with it, and come up with your own version of it and enjoy it. That's part of the music, is experimenting and learning new things about what you can do and what your instrument can do. So if you want, take what I've shown you here and expand upon it. All right, now last but definitely never least, is have fun. Have fun, everybody. Have fun with the music, have fun with your instrument, have fun with life. Just have fun, everybody. All right, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you enjoy further lessons that I'm here to teach you. And I hope to see you all again soon. All right, have a good day. All right, bye-bye.